gonna make a a video on my review of this bike. This is my brother's Fz-09, but he's selling it today because extenuating circumstances. He and his wife need the money and everything, but so this is the last time I'm gonna get on this bike. So I figured it would be a good time to get a little review in. So I'll keep it concise. Do I love this bike? Yes. Is this bike awesome? Yes. I do really enjoy riding this bike. It's fairly comfortable, it's fairly powerful, and it's fairly affordable too. Much less expensive than my bike even. But would I buy this bike? After riding it for a while, I would have to say no. And the answer is not so much as it's a bad bike or anything like that. It's just not really something I would prefer. Now, if I had to choose something very similar like the XSR900, I probably would buy that bike, even though it's almost the same bike. And I'm sorry if I sound a little weird right now. I just got wisdom tooth taken out and still got the gauze in my mouth and anesthetic everywhere. So sorry if I kind of slur my speech a little bit. Anyway, the reason I would buy a bike like the XSR900, even for the increase in price, but wouldn't really buy this bike, is, for one, I do like the looks a lot more. Two, I like the riding position a lot more because you lean forward just a little bit. With this thing, you are just so bolt upright that it's almost uncomfortably seated up. And I say that, not saying that it is uncomfortable, but it's just a little harder to keep your posture when you're straight up like this versus forward just a little bit. And the other big reason really is the suspension. I do not like the suspension of this bike. It's just way too soft. Even for the road, I think it is a little soft. And I mean, it is comfortable and it's plush when you're going in a straight line, going over bumps or anything like that. But when you're going hard into a corner, even if it's just a curvy road, it still feels uncomfortably soft in the sense that I don't necessarily feel all that safe with it. But the seat is comfier than my R6. Seating position, it is comfier. It's got a lot more torque, and it's a lot more usable than your average Super Sport. Don't get me wrong, this bike is it's an absolute blast to ride. It's really fun to just do wheelies all the time, and for that reason I do love this bike. But I just wouldn't want to own this bike. I wouldn't want to, I don't know, I just wouldn't want to spend my money on a bike that I know I don't want a bike that I'm not going to have for a long time. So I wouldn't want to spend my money on this bike knowing that I kind of would prefer something that has better suspension and a little better looks. Not that this bike's ugly, it's just not necessarily pretty either. But it does sound really good. It doesn't have the Triumph intake whistle so much, but it does have that Yamaha pop in the exhaust, and it's really deep. It's nice. And another thing about the, if I could get my words out, another thing about the suspension that I don't really like is under hard acceleration it's very wobbly. I've never really gotten speed wobble before I've been on this bike, because I can usually control the acceleration, my body position, how I'm riding, to suit the riding conditions of the road and everything else, to not really have an issue with speed wobble. I know my bike doesn't really have that problem just because it's not all that powerful in the torque department. But when you get this thing up around 100, and you've got it just slamming out 65 pound-feet of torque all day, it gets a little dicey. It's a little wobbly, and the wind, really with this windscreen, it's not awful, but it's not necessarily as good as I'd like it to be at high speeds. At highway speeds, not bad. You can deal with it easily. Tastes like blood. Hello, police officer. No, I was not just doing a wheelie. The bad thing is, my brother hasn't even had this bike long enough to get it licensed. Okay, well, we're here. So those are my thoughts on the bike. It's really great, but I wouldn't buy it just for those reasons: suspension, looks, and I would just want a different bike. So. That's why I wouldn't get it. I think it's an amazing bike, and you're definitely not stupid to get it. It's a great price too, so.